Hi, welcome to the Motion Picture Notion. I'm your host, Gabriel Burton, and I had a remote control up my ass. This is my wife, Caitlin, and we're going to talk about two movies tonight. Let's start with the Mothman Prophecies. I think we agreed.
We watched this because I'm a true crime fan, so I listened to My Favorite Murder, and they did the episode about it started out very funny. It's a tragedy, but the episode started out very funny, and then we watched BuzzFeed Unsolved together, where Ryan,
Great show.
Just a great show, and they went to the town in West Virginia, the Point Pleasant, where they got Mothman cookies, Mothman poop, it's like espresso beans.
Mothman Pizza.
Mothman pizza.
Olives for the eyes.
They had a great time. They yelled for Mothman. They did not see him.
Mothman!
But I did like it a lot.
Well, I told you it's not like a James Wan movie. It's not like a bunch of jump scares and stuff. It's more like you usually find it in the horror section of a video store. But, I mean, in that it's supernatural and that it's creepy and unsettling, it can be argued that it's a horror movie, but it has a certain subtlety. Anyways, I saw it back in 2002, and I thought that it was really creepy. So when Shane and Ryan on BuzzFeed were doing an episode about it, I was like, oh yeah, Mothman, I know that guy. Yeah. It's funny because Caitlin, knowing the story of Mothman, she's watching the whole opening to the movie with Richard Gere and his wife, and they're going to get this
Not just that, but the current political climate. I was like, I don't care about these wealthy, rich people.
We had recently watched the second movie that we're going to talk about.
They mispronounced glioblastoma the whole movie. I was very irritated about it. But it was nice to watch glioblastoma.
What did they call it?
Glioblastoma. So, because I will say that it was very sobering to find out that back then it was rare and now it is no longer.
Cell phones.
So now, when they go to Point Pleasant, and he's kind of treated like, all right, guy. Look at you in your fancy 90s coat. You know?
I'm a God-fearing man, and this dude showed up on my lawn 3 times, and I had the right to shoot him. Well, actually, he wasn't in your house. I know I had the right to shoot him.
Laura Linney being like, I had shoes and everything. You know what I mean? It was great. He got put in his place, so it was easier to digest the movie.
I figured she'd like it.
And then the rest of it was pretty good. Although it was a little upsetting once we got to the very end, spoiler alert, when the bridge falls apart, and I knew what was happening, and I knew what had happened, and it was just such a sad thing, and sad timing. So, and a higher body count than they counted in the movie. So, I thought that it took me out of it.
Do you know how many it was? Because the movie was 36.
Something. It was more than 36.
I mean, still, that's a lot of people.
There's a lot of people at Christmas time. We watched a bunch of documentaries about it too. We kind of fell into a rabbit hole about it. So we saw the people talking about it, and they were kind of, the primary witnesses were two couples who were in high school. They were both engaged in high school, and they're still together. So they were just talking about it like normal people. So the dramatization, I think, took me out of it a little bit.
I mean, if it had been really like that, because I mean, that's like an economy for them over there, how much shit do they sell that has to do with the Mothman, So a lot of them are saying, oh yeah, I saw the Mothman,
and it's statue of Mothman.
Yeah,
so it is part of their economy.
You can't do that if you're gonna.
Something,
but you can't do that if you're gonna do a movie about something. You need to make it believable. And I mean, that lady who said that she saw...
Cool. It was creepy.
I will agree with you that it was a little bit longer than I
remembered it. Oh my god, it was so long.
It's a great movie.
I don't mind tension, well, I don't like a tense movie, but I don't mind, I'm not somebody who can't watch a long movie. It was we were lingering on moments we didn't really need to, and it's fine. It was okay because I talked through movies and I was able to just chat through it. I didn't mind it terribly.
The editing was sometimes a little bit awkward.
It was creepy too. I wanted to see more Mothman.
It felt kind of in certain parts like one of the documentaries, like a reenactment.
Yeah,
I mean, Richard Gere and
it looks like the location too. It's a good.
It might have been.
It looks like. I think it might be.
Yeah, no, it might be. I mean, I understand that the movie was supposed to be kind of disorienting, and for the most part it was. I would say it was good. There were a couple parts here and there, and this is in retrospect watching it now, where it was a little bit okay, maybe you could have cut that down just a tiny little bit. And at the end when the bridge is collapsing and shit, I don't know if you picked up on this, but the editing was freaking crazy. It was this, that, there's a spring here and a freaking thing, and it's like it was like a 10-minute sequence.
And I thought it was gratuitous, given it was a real life event.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, but it had a subtlety and a creepiness that's very rare to find in a movie, and I really enjoyed it.
I did like it. It was fun. It's such an interesting story.
They stuck to the facts for the most part, right? I mean,
no. We watched Hidden Figures. I've never seen it. I don't know why I didn't see it when it came out, but it was the blackout weekend. I bought a movie by a black author that day. So this is sort of the theme we will go with for a little while, per my request. We're going to do...
I have some black-themed horror movies.
So 6 more, black-themed or black-authored and, like, black casts.
Well, kind of a combination.
Okay.
Black cast, I would say, is a consistent...
Black visibility.
Yes.
So, yeah, and I'm going to do my own movies about being black. So, my own movies by black people.
You know.
I need someone else's perspective, clearly. So we watched Hidden Figures, and it was a good like moment. It was funny because like Jake kept talking about whether or not he thinks the moon landing was faked, and I guess what's important to me in this moment isn't really the moon landing, and I think it's this movie has contextualized the moon landing in a completely different way. Whenever I think about it now, I will think about these 3 women and be like, well, like in
to be clear, I don't think that the moon landing was faked. It was
just like a question. He was just, we were just talking
there's a reasonable doubt, but I don't actually think
it wasn't really about that because it changed for me immediately. I was like, well, who cares? Because these women did something in Virginia like unthinkable.
Having to take a piss in a bathroom that was like 45 minutes away. Yeah.
So some stuff was exaggerated, but the vast majority of the accomplishments, not necessarily the struggles actually, but the accomplishments, these women kind of being smart enough to walk in there and
had
take
a bit
control.
of fluff.
Yeah, it had stuff to most of the white characters were composite characters to represent general experiences. And there is a book about it.
What about Kevin Costner's character?
All the white characters are composite. They're all composite. There's no specific dude who did that. Hopefully we will have more people who are able to focus on the contribution all Americans have to make, regardless of their skin color, and can, and black Americans, not just, America has no problem looking at what white people have to offer. So this was beautiful. You know what I mean? It was very well acted.
Very
Janelle Monáe is one of my favorite musicians. I've never seen her act before, and it was really cool to be like blown away. She's so good. Janelle Monáe is the one who becomes an engineer.
Right.
And her husband is like worried for her because it's a difficult environment. And she's like, no.
I got this, bro.
Yeah.
It was really uplifting. And I mean, I'm sure that there was a decent amount of fluff that went in there. But like, I think that the purpose of... no, I mean, I think that like, based on like the documented shit, they stuck pretty much to the, but I'm sure in certain points it got a little bit more ugly than it did in the movie.
No, they actually
really?
said, the women, okay, so I think there was only one woman who was surviving. I think it was Katherine Johnson, who was old enough or who was still alive, to watch the movie, and she loved it. She thought it was great.
Oh.
But apparently the environment in NASA was a lot more accepting.
They were the great minds of the time.
Yeah, the issue at hand was so big and so pressing that like to have these women there was like, yeah, it is a thing, but let's get back to work. You know what I mean? Like, so I think that was sort of the attitude. She wasn't the one who had to run across the campus. Somebody else had to do that. She actually just started using the white bathroom and didn't realize her error until somebody pointed it out. And she was like, I don't fucking care. I'm just going to use this bathroom.
I had to pee.
Yeah. She's like,
I'm not
doing this. I'm not
at the
doing
computer?
This. Wasting all my time. I can't imagine that someone didn't say, are we sure about this black lady working for us? So. And
it was a good story that like nobody's ever heard before. And that's kind of what I really liked about it, is the fact that, I mean, yes, it was inspirational.
That's sort of what I'm getting at, where it's like the moon landing was spectacular. It was a big step for mankind, and that encompasses what happened here, where these women would not have had a place in history at all before, and they get this phenomenal opportunity because our country is moving forward.
And I mean, not for nothing, like, I mean, one of the biggest complaints that I've ever had, like, I mean, like, if you want to go back to my Watchmen video on this channel, is like taking something and trying to unnaturally like shoehorn it into, you know, a once beloved work at its like to its detriment.
There was
essentially.
a racial conversation
in the actual graphic novel.
Yeah, but like it was like
organic. Exactly. Like, and that's not what they did.
Look at the kitty.
A movie like this, for example, was like great. It was something, and I think that there should be more like this movie. It's like shit that people haven't seen before. Maybe stuff that's like a little bit more uplifting. You know, I'm not saying that we shouldn't acknowledge like the dark shit, but like it's like kind of maybe balance it a little bit. Yeah, like balance it a little bit more with some like kind of, you know, like fuck yeah.
Buenos suertes.
Buenos suertes. I don't. What's that?
Good luck.
Good luck.
I think I don't know.
Buenos
suertes.
suertes. Good. Buenos is good. So buenos suertes.
Nostrovios. I know that.
Adios, tu pinche pendejos. That's all she wrote.
Nostrovia.